Welcome back. It's still the morning brief right here on Channels Television. And before we head into the next leg of our conversation, let's tell you very quickly that following last story, our earlier report about the traffic gridlock on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, on the Kara portion to be precise, involving multiple trucks, there's a sad update that 2 persons may have died. Our correspondent, was held up in that traffic, and he reported live earlier on. 3 persons now, according to reports. He's still there, and he'll be bringing us up to speed later on what exactly is happening as far as, efforts of security agents to restore sanity to the scene of the incident. It's at Kara end of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Again, this is a traffic advisory to everyone who may be traveling that route.
Outbound Lagos.
Yes. So let's head right into the next leg of our conversation. And it's about the Senate's proposal for an amendment to the criminal code, which seeks to impose stiffer penalties on processes that aid abortion. Now, there isn't a very clear-cut policy, national policy on abortion, but there are laws governing abortion in Nigeria to the effect that it can only be allowed in the case where the life of the pregnant mother is at risk. And there are variations to abortion in terms of either the criminal code in Nigeria's south or the penal code in Nigeria's north. What does this mean for reproductive health for pregnant mothers, and not just pregnant mothers, for young persons as well who may find themselves pregnant, teenage pregnancy? So joining us to have this conversation this morning, we have Mr. Talamo Wycliffe Dabb. I hope I got your name correctly, sir. He's an obstetrician and gynecologist who joins us from our Abuja studio. And right by him there, we also have Mr. Lucky Palmer, the country director, IPAS, Nigeria Health Foundation. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen, on the program.
Thank you. Good morning.
I'll start with you, Mr. Palmer. I'd like to get your thoughts on what this proposal by Nigeria's Senate means for reproductive health of pregnant mothers and, of course, young persons who get pregnant.
Thank you. I think it makes it a bit more gloomy for Nigerian women. Right now, Nigeria has the highest maternal mortality in the world, and some of the contributions of that are issues around unsafe abortion. And the proposal that is being made can even put threaten the life of doctors and nurses and midwives. And that means that if a woman finds herself in a situation where, for whatever reason, they have a miscarriage, then nobody's there to help them. And that will probably not increase the number of maternal deaths that we have in our country. So for us, it's about how do we ensure that the rights of women are protected? How do we ensure that the government does not regulate how women live their life? I think we're a country where we are people of faith and we're people of individual. So I think every human being, every woman has the right to their life and the right to determine what to do with their body. Our law tries to regulate the woman's body, but does not attempt to regulate the man's body. I think that is itself discriminatory in our law, and it's something that we need to talk about. So I think this attempt by the Senate might be an opportunity to have a broader conversation around the laws that regulate issues around miscarriages and abortion. And the way it's being framed right now, it talks about miscarriages. So does it mean that if a woman who has malaria takes malaria tablet and then she falls sick and she's miscarried, does that make her a criminal? Does it make the doctor who provided services for her a criminal? So we think, or what we are actually asking for, is for a broader consultation so that we can review this together with different spectrum of our society and come up with the right law that will save our lives and help us reduce maternal mortality in Nigeria. Right now, Nigeria have the highest number of absolute number regarding maternal death annual. That is number of women who die either during pregnancy or 6 weeks after pregnancy. And its cause of this, the cause of death is due to the pregnancy complication. For instance, somebody was raped, she doesn't want the pregnancy, she becomes pregnant, does not want it, and struggle to get rid of the pregnancy, and she dies. Are we going to blame her? We are saying if you're raped or you are kidnapped and you are raped, you should carry the pregnancy to term. You should have the child of your rapist. I'm sure no father, no mother will want their daughter to carry the child of a rapist. So for us, it's about having a broader conversation around it. It's not just about this clause alone in the CAP, in the Nigerian Criminal Code and Penal Code. We feel we should open it up for broader conversation so that, one, our doctors, our obstetricians and gynecologists should be empowered to do what is best to save every Nigerian girl, every Nigerian woman in Nigeria, irrespective of where they're born, irrespective of the situation they find themselves. Let's leave that medical decision to the doctors.
All right.
I mean, like we say, like we tell people in our office, abortion itself is healthcare. It's not a criminal. It's not a crime.
All right. Let's take it to Mr. Da. I have a follow-up question for you, Mr. Palmer, but let's take it to Mr. Da. Do you agree that this is misdirected as well?
Dr. Da.
Dr. Da.
Yes. It's a misdirection. I need us to understand that if you enact a set of laws that you do not have the capacity to enforce in terms of real lack of the things that necessary things you need to enforce them, and in terms of the readiness of the general population to obey it, what happens is that it spells trouble to the whole reproductive health of the country. My reason is now the punishment is made stiffer, and that means those who used to go underground to secure abortion, which kills women when it's poorly done, are going to go more. The numbers have doubled over the past 5 years or a decade of those who seek abortion. The numbers have doubled, and that also means that the numbers of those dying from abortion is going to double. And if the punishment is made stricter, without, I don't know whether there were big consultations and so on, but in the House of Reps, where it was, the law started, and also in the Senate. But if there were, I think more greater consultation need to be done, because it will drive abortion deeper low, and more people are going to die. I think what we are against is that people should not die having an abortion. Things should be put in place where quacks will not be allowed to make, to give things to girls that will easily kill them. But the more stiffer the punishment is made, the more things go wrong in our country. And that is the implication for reproductive health. We are going to have more trouble on our hands if you are at the end of seeing how battered girls come at the point they want to die. You will understand with me that this is exactly the trouble that we are afraid of and what we are fearing. That for reproductive health, we are going to brace up for more work, we are going to brace up for more deaths and for more injuries to girls and women.
Well, let's take the conversation back to Mr. Palmer now. So I'm not sure what other alternatives you're willing to explore. But take, for instance, in the U.S., when the Supreme Court made that really very historic judgment overturning the Roe versus Wade case, it now allowed for states to determine each individual, each state to determine their laws. So I'm not sure, are there plans for you to go to the Supreme Court if perhaps engagements with the House of Reps goes south? And then are you also proposing, or what are you also proposing? Do you think states should perhaps be allowed to handle issues around their abortions peculiar to their states and environment?
Yeah, okay. I think first of all, if you look at, you mentioned the United States, which is right, and if you look at the global maternal mortality indices among the Western Hemisphere or the global North, I'm not sure the US is one of the best in terms of maternal mortality. So that also points some fingers to us to look at and to learn from. But then coming to our own country, I think we have a law right now that I normally I will refer to as the Colonial Masters Law. It's a law given to us that's over 156 years old. And when you go through that law, you see some clauses there that tells you that these are old laws that need to be changed to our modern realities. It talks about, there's a bit of contradiction in the law now with the modern realities. Now there are medications that can be used safely to induce abortion, but law only talk about surgical operation. So there are a lot of things that have to do. So first of all, let's open the conversation up. I think Nigeria is ripe to discuss that we need to review the Nigerian abortion law in totality. It's a 156-year law. I'm not sure there's anybody in Nigeria today living that was born when that law entered our criminal law book. So which means that it's enough for us to take a step and look at it and look at the reality of our country. Let me give you an example. There are some states, there are some local governments, in fact, many local governments, for example, that does not have a registered pharmacy living in them. There are plenty. There are some states that probably have just 2 obstetricians and gynecologists registered who are practicing in the state. So there are issues around women pregnancy management in the state because of lack of specialists. Why don't we even talk about that? And that's why, for example, if you look at the current Minister of Health and his team, they are so much passionate about reducing maternal mortality. And one of the critical causes that have been acknowledged worldwide, and especially in Nigeria, that causes that contribute to maternal mortality is unsafe abortion. Whereas abortion saves lives if it's done by right persons, trained properly, within the right circumstances.
Let me quickly come in there.
So the question is, why don't we go to that option?
Let me quickly come in there, Mr. Palmer. Another contributor to unsafe abortion is young persons who are engaging in unprotected sex and falling pregnant. So I understand your argument about the need to give some form of liberty to women over their reproductive health. But how do we balance that with the need for the sanctity of human life? Because a fetus is also life that is growing.
Yes, thank you very much. The fetus is a life that is growing, definitely. But then the question is, the fetus can only survive if the person carrying it is also alive. And that's why, one of the languages in the law talk about preservation of the mother's life, which is beyond just saving the mother. If the mother does not live, that fetus cannot survive. Okay, so in terms of saying young people having sex, it may interest you to know that, a lot of people that go for safe abortion in our country are married people and elderly because they know what to do and are able to afford and can pay for it. But we have more young people dying because they do not have money for it, they do not know where to go, and because they are even denied contraception by the society. So the society itself, you say, we do not think that you should have contraception, access to contraception because you are too young. And then you become pregnant, or maybe you are raped, you become pregnant. Society say, you must carry it, we must give you double punishment. Why don't we even open up the space for contraception and then provide comprehensive sexuality education in our schools and let the young people make their own decision? If you can allow a young person to say, you know what, I want to study medicine, or I want to study science, I want to go to the university to study, why do we think she should not have information that will enable her to make a decision around her sexuality, or whether you even want to have sex or not. But the more we continue to keep the conversation about sex away from them, the more they want to exploit it, and the more they get into trouble.
All right. Let's speak to Dr. Da for a moment. We are beginning to wind down on our conversation now. Dr. Da, on a scale of 1 to 10, because you are the obstetrician here and gynecologist, on a scale of 1 to 10, how safe is it for one to carry out an abortion?
It's 10 if you're talking about a skilled obstetrician and gynecologist. It's 0 if you're talking about a quack. And every other person with the different skills will fall in between.
All right. So I imagine that you would have perhaps carried out some of these kind of cases yourself. But what did I say to you? I mean, I know I'm trying to put you on the spot, but what did I say to you? And how do you think religion plays a very big part of some of the key decisions in our country? Is that also a factor and concern here?
Yeah, you have 2 questions. The one that concerns me, I practice according to the law of Nigeria. You can terminate a pregnancy to save a woman's life. As a matter of fact, if a woman is pregnant and is so sick that I know that the physiological changes and the things in pregnancy will terminate her life even before the time, I'm the first to tell the woman that, Madam, please, I know you want to have the pregnancy, but it's going to endanger your life. You're going to die. And yes, I will terminate it. But because I'm trained, it's going to be safe. As for religion, it plays a part. Now, and the part depends on which side of the divide somebody is. Some religions prevent people from even preventing pregnancy itself. And some, taking things that will prevent pregnancy. If you do contraception like you were saying and prevent pregnancy, perhaps you will reduce the burden by 30%.
All right. All right. The complexity of the issue compels, a round table where all shades of opinion in every part of the country should be covered. That's right. And that's why, this perhaps is the starting point for this criminal code amendment that will prescribe stiffer penalty for abortion. I believe the law says, the new proposal says from 3 to 10 years for anyone caught aiding an abortion. We must thank you very much, gentlemen. We've been talking with Dr. Talamo Wycliffe Da, an obstetrician and gynecologist, and Mr. Lucky Palmer, the country director, IPAS, Nigeria Health Foundation. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
And this is where we draw the curtains on the program today. Thank you so much for being there. We'll be back with the home stretch tomorrow. I am Bukola Koka.
And from Lagos, Nigeria, I am Kelly Egiga. Just before we go, a quick update again on the Kara accident, where we can confirm to you, our viewers, that this accident, we understand, occurred around 10 p.m. last night, where 2 vehicles were burnt. The tow truck, we understand, arrived to tow these vehicles in the early hours of this morning when an oncoming truck, another oncoming truck, lost his brake and collided with the towing vehicle and the other vehicles who were also stuck there. So far, our correspondent says that 3 persons have been sadly confirmed dead, while some other victims, we understand, are still in the river. So hopefully these will bring you up to speed with more developments, and we hope that it doesn't get any worse than what we are seeing or hearing. Thank you so much for staying with us here on the Morning Brief. Stick around here on Channels TV. Sunrise Daily is next. Good morning.